So this is, you know, a lot of times I start with an idea of what I'd like to talk about, and then move into things that I always like to talk about. So the topic is one thing, and then I end up talking about something completely different. So forgive me if that happens. But I feel confident that we'll talk quite a lot about Yangsheng Fa, which are the actual practices or methods of Yangsheng. So I want to, and this is really the second half of our talk, and it might be interactive. In other words, I'd love, a practice is something you do. It's not something you think about. So we might actually move the chairs aside, and there's some blankets and pillows and towels. Most of it can be done seated, but some of it would be better off done on the floor, like some of the abdominal massage, some of the meditation. If any of you are used to being seated on the floor, you're welcome to, like that. So, some of the offerings are information, like there's a section on health teas, herbal health teas, and which ones are the ones that you use for longevity, and what kind of longevity. Is it more brain function? Is it strengthen your bones? Is it opening the heart to encourage wisdom? Is it to turn the hair black? Is it to increase sexual function? What kind of longevity are you interested in? And that actually is something I would like to raise later, which is, what is longevity? Is longevity a linear measurement that instead of living to 72 years or 84 years, to be a centenarian, to live to 100 years? Is that longevity? Or can we say that maybe longevity is living well? That I think it maybe is a three-dimensional experience. That yes, we want to live longer, because after all, doesn't everybody want more time? That's why we have all the different conveniences, right? We want to do everything faster, we want information faster, we want faster food, we want faster travel, in hopes that we'll have some time left. But who actually does have time left? Don't you just fill it in more? You have more time to do more things. It's not that you end up... I used to do this is by way of introduction to you, I used to do this kind of camping, where it was called historical reenacting. So you would go back 100 years and go out into nature as if they did, with the equipment they had, and you'd live that way. So you'd spend your whole day like cutting firewood and walking with buckets down to the river to get water, to come back, to cook your food, and then you'd spend a lot of time cleaning it, and everything took a lot longer, so your whole day was full with these kind of chores. And even though we do all of that in a much, much simpler way today, our whole day is still filled with chores. So I guess my question is about longevity. What is it? What are we really... If we say Yangsheng is the ancient Chinese science of longevity, Yang means nourish, and Sheng means life. Like life being this fundamental spark, that thing that we use up eventually, that causes us to age. So the Taoists would say that we're trying to cultivate and collect and conserve our Jing essence, and by doing that, our life goes longer. I'm sure you've all seen that sort of chart. This can be, I've seen this written a lot of different ways, but it goes something like this. And this, we could say, sorry if this is too low. This is too low, isn't it? Okay, here, we'll say this is birth. And that at birth you have this, this kind of description really is like stopping a moving train. So it's, it's not an exact replica of the concept, but it's good enough. So if we say at birth the human being has 100% Jing, and at birth that and this is negotiable, but for conversation, at birth, the human being has 0% Jing. And that's a huge debate. So, but for this model, we'll say, or maybe we can say underdeveloped